So right now, today is Monday, 24th of February, 2025, and I believe yesterday, the 23rd of February, 2025, was the election day. I don't know how it works in Germany. It was election day in Germany, which is a very famous country, especially in Europe and the EU. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, maybe France and Germany are the two top countries right now in the EU, especially after Brexit many years ago, with England being, I think, alone. But whatever you could say, even though they they're basically a subsidiary of the EU, anyways. At the end of the day, England, they just listen to whatever the EU has to say. I just really believe that, but that's for another day. So it's a top three biggest country in Europe, especially in the EU, and that is the country of Germany. And they had a massive election, and it changed. I mean, what the SPD got was in third place with Scholz, who was the chancellor. Well, he was chancellor. He took over Meghan Merkel. Not Meghan Merkel. That's whatever. He took over the lady that was there for many years. I forgot her name. Um, they never really lost an election. They're always this left wing and feel bad for the world type of attitude, type of stuff. That's what Germany was, and Schultz really he kind of was the same. Um, and right now you have they a party that they say is extremely right wing. It's called the AFD, led by a lady Alice Weidel. Which, by the way, we're the feminists for her because a woman is running the show and took a party from not being so relevant, being an opposition party in Germany, to being in the government, most likely as the second place in because of how it works with coalitions in Europe, unlike America, where it's like the first place wins the election and that's the president and that's the party, and he really controls a lot for the next 4 years. Friedrich Merz, the conservative, the CDU, CSV party, won 33% of the vote, 24 for AFD, 19 for Schultz. The Green Party, which actually lost seats, I believe was 13 and a half, and the left, they call extreme right, but they never call extreme left in the world. Um, Went from 3.8 to 10.2, so something's going on with them as well. It's extreme. You're gonna say it's extreme, but I just think the pendulum is swinging in this world right now. The pendulum was swinging a little bit in El Salvador, in Argentina, which is a bigger country. It's a very underrated how big that country is. But at the same time, you have to look at the United States of America is the biggest, and once they go somewhere, the world looks. The world doesn't care as much from Argentina's standpoint in El Salvador. El Salvador has this jail thing where the world doesn't really like it, but at the same time, the quote unquote who cares? Uh, Shout out to the people from El Salvador. There's nothing wrong with what they're doing, but everybody doesn't want to really doesn't talk about them so much because they're not Jews. But that's besides the point. They they are a big they matter in this world, but they don't talk about them as much as Germany. But to tell you this, the pendulum is swinging because when you start forgetting about your people, people do things that they shouldn't do. And by the way, Germany, please stop the censorship of people's opinions on stupid things. People have opinions on Looney Tunes. Who cares? And that's what's going to be that way. And they're going to say, well, everyone says it's dangerous. What's dangerous? They've accepted all of Europe, France, um, France, England, all these places, and Germany have accepted ISIS members, okay, to claim asylum. They said they didn't know. It's pretty obvious what had happened there. It's pretty obvious what they did. And ISIS members and members of Al Qaeda, members of all these they talk about fascism, but you accept fascists and you accept terrorists all over your country. These are facts. These are not opinions. I watched documentaries of people catching all these ISIS members, catching ISIS members all over the place. They don't just catch ISIS members; they catch Al Qaeda members, and they don't even catch them anymore. Now they just like let them go and like oh they could be different here. All these in Germany, all these countries in Sweden, all these places. Suddenly, they talk about women's rights. There's no women's rights. There's none. But they keep talking about when the woman is actually getting there and fighting, like Alice Weidel, which I'm not saying she's going to do a good job or not. Suddenly she's not a woman. What is she then? Okay, when we have this Looney Tune minds talking about stupidity around the world about how many genders there are when it's obvious what it is. It's pretty obvious. You could do whatever you want to your body when you're 18. But when these kids are hiding from their parents to do stuff around the world, then you go, "Oh, these parents are disgusting." Well, what do you mean? It's their kids. They're not affecting anybody. They're guiding their kids. They're the guide of their kids. What is wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. But that's what the world has come to, where education is about tolerance instead of education about learning. Why can't we learn stuff? And then at the same time, in all these countries, they could work together. There's nothing wrong with working together, but at the same time, why do you have to depend on each country? Maybe for security purposes, but shouldn't depend on each country for economic purposes. Give your people the opportunities around the country, education and economically. Instead, you're giving these people who are coming in, they're taking the small jobs, and you think they're small. See, everyone says baby steps come big steps every time. There's nothing wrong with migrating to countries, but when you put all these stuff together and like just accept everybody without checking, without background checks, and that's what they've done. And then they say, "Oh, they haven't done that." Yes, they have. This is ridiculous what's going on in the world. Obviously, it's going to be a fight to change, and they have to make a coalition. I know how these countries work because I've spoken to some of them. I'm not an expert. Again, I'm an expert on nothing, but I will say this. As of right now, what it looks like, it's going to be those two parties are going to be in charge of the government, and it's going to be with the way it looks, it's going to be security is going to be high. There's going to be security alert. There might be deportations in Germany because even Scholz wanted it, but he got scared of the media. He got scared of protests. You can't back down to the stupid Looney Tune left-wing protest that George Soros is funding all the time. We can't keep doing that. And this is what's going on. I will say this. The pendulum has swung around the world for now. We'll see how long that lasts because it always comes back. History always comes back. When you don't learn from history, it repeats itself. It naturally repeats itself because people get too comfortable and then people don't like monotony. Monotony is the same thing all over and over and over again, but sometimes monotony is like the best situation. It's the best way to do it. Sometimes you need change, absolutely. But I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work, but everybody's going about far right. I mean, far right, last time I checked, did they give you health care? And last time I checked about far right, are they asking for concentration camps? And let me ask you a question. Who do they support in the Middle East? So if you're talking about far right, I think the far right in Germany many years ago would have not supported Germany, would have supported the other side, and would have funded them. I don't think Germany is going to fund them. I don't think they want to fund these people at all. So this is my answer. I don't think they're going to be friends with Iran. I don't think they like Russia so much. They will speak to Russia. Everyone says they're going to bow down to Russia, whatever they want. No, they're not. Okay? They're not going to bow down to Russia. Everyone thinks they're just going to be Putin's puppets and assets. It's every time this thing happens. It's Russian misinformation. And Germany, you better stop. You better stop with this garbage about censoring your own people. Okay? Don't do that. Unless they threaten people, don't censor your own people because of misinformation. I saw the 60 Minutes. So I don't know when they're going to merge, when the coalition's going to come together. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. We'll see. Only God knows when. And we'll see how many fights there are to get the coalition. Because sometimes the coalitions could be crazy. What happened to France a couple of years ago was pathetic. Okay? All you my French friends, I have a few of them. I don't have a ton of them. They know. They know what happened when the lady won. By the way, also her, if I remember, she was also not a feminist. She was not a woman because she wasn't the right woman. But what about what happened to feminism with that too? What happened to Alice Weidel? What happened to all these women that are like fighting for women's rights because women are fighting for their country and they're literally heroes? What happened to the woman in Israel literally fighting these nutcases? What happened? What about feminism? I don't want to hear about that. What about the women here? They're literally women heroes. Okay, but no one cares. Okay, you keep talking about women when it comes to like feminism and when it comes to all this stuff. I thought feminism is women can aspire to be great, but okay, I guess not. All right, have a great day. Thank you all for listening. Subscribe to my channel, Arya Free 26, and follow me on Rumble at Arya F26, as well as leave a comment. And if you disagree or agree, I would like to talk and or maybe possibly argue with you through the comment section. Thank you.